What's up, dudes? It's been a little bit. Missed last week's video. Kind of like in like limbo, kind of like a neutral state at the moment. Designed a bunch of stuff. CAD for the 27 Model T tube chassis rat rod thingy with the Honda engine. Debating on what I'm gonna call the Model T. It's gonna have a saucy name. It's gonna be quite saucy.
Sauce.
There's an airplane flying overhead. It's noisy. Damn it. I'm going to refer to this car behind me as living monstrosity. I think because this thing is just a weird Frankenstein vehicle that should have never existed. It exists now, but it's just one of a kind of thing. I don't want to call it like a human name or anything like that. Yeah, Hector. Huh. Let's go drive Hector.
Oh, Hector.
I think that's what I'm gonna do, is I'm gonna kind of tailor to the 70s gasser. Yeah, just I don't know, I've always liked that, like how they named the cars and the names that they gave the cars. If you know that I'm a big like metal fan, death metal, black metal, deathcore, slam, funeral doom, doom metal, gothic doom, just like all the crazy like dark heavy stuff. Death, literally called Death. One of their albums, Spiritual Healing, has a song called Living Monstrosity. Freak of nature kind of thing. It's fitting to the car, so I'm gonna the car's gonna be known as Living Monstrosity. A lot of what I do kind of derives around music. I'm very musically like inspired. I thought, why not just name it after one of my favorite songs, after one of my favorite bands.
Living monstrosity, freak for life they'll always be. Never knowing love or hate, only pain the drug creates.
That's another thing. I've been building custom trophies for the Special Olympics of New Mexico. They hit me up from last year. I did some custom trophies for them before, so they wanted some more stuff. Did some CAD, sent them to Send, and they came back in like no time. So I just finished them today. Alright, so let's start off with the billet. Did a bit of CAD work on this thing. Cut out a lot more. You won't be able to tell. The body itself is channeled so much onto the BMW chassis. This quarter panel section underneath is really low to the ground, a couple inches off the ground. So pretty much I'm done with all my cutting as far as dropping the body down. In order to get it a little bit lower, I'm gonna just put some coilovers in the front. The air ride is gonna get replaced in the rear. I'm gonna just put coilovers in the rear. Well, I'm gonna slam it down and just kind of get the car level. because this is all the way dumped down with the air ride, so it obviously has to go more a little bit more of a radius job here, give it some travel, if that makes sense. Just a fun fact, the BMW hood still fits on it, and it still like latches in. Looks stupid as all hell, but so that when it rains or we get these weird random showers, water doesn't get inside of the engine bay or the engine itself. I want to kind of talk about what I'm going to do to marry these things together. Let's see, let's open this bad boy up. Woo! Okay, that door is really heavy, so I'm going to gut all the doors because there's no reason for those things to be as heavy as. So I'm going to gut those things after everything's all together. What I'm going to do is, you can see that I cut out this section here. This is really bad rust. This is complete cancer. So what I'm going to do, or what I did do, was I did a bit of CAD and I basically made some braces, right? Because I'm gonna cut this entire section out, all of it. Look at how bad it is. Like, and people tell me that I ruined a good car, but you know, nature did that itself. But anyways, the moment I cut this away from this, it's gonna allow that section to move forward and back, right? There's nothing bracing it together. Was I made some pieces that side and the inside, and they go and they ride along and they're going to weld to that side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to section the door at the bottom, and it's just a boxed in area here. There's going to be some holes in between, going to kind of dimple them up a little bit, get them a little bit stronger. Piece that goes on the top that will connect, so it'll literally box everything in. I'll weld it all together, make it so that there's no seams, just get it looking nice. And so I'll do that for the front. I also did one for the back. I can't open the door right now because the strap, so I can't open it up, but same thing for the back. It follows the curve of the door. And then I made some new rockers. So these rockers are very bland. I was going to make just a completely custom piece. The new piece kind of matches the curve of the old rocker. You can see it does have a little bit of a curve, so I kind of tried to keep that but make it custom in my own way. Why rebuild them the way that they were when I can build them the way that I want them to be, and how I'm going to brace everything up to the BMW chassis. Obviously this is a custom car. There's going to be a lot of custom work done to it. Yes, it'll still retain, you know, what's there, I guess you could say, but it's going to just turn more into like a race car type of deal. And it just got windy the time, but once I get everything together and I know where everything's gonna sit, then I can do the roll cage and then do everything back here. Maybe do a door bar or something. I'm not too sure yet what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna figure it out. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on with that. Put the door on, take the hood off, put a fender on, put the real hood on now.
It's getting late, my old friend. It's time to go now. Say goodbye to all we had, and set these torn sails away. I'm worn down in these battles. I'm ready to sleep now.
Now onto the Model T. Obviously the last time I kind of made the video on this thing, put the engine and trans back in just to kind of see where everything's going to kind of play out. Build trans mount for the BMW 5-speed, and that should be coming this week with that same shipment from Sen. So it's kind of a weld together piece, and there's a little bit of adjustment left and right, I think it is. And then obviously fore and aft, because the ears on this transmission already have slots to go forward and back. Toge factory billet mounts put on the engine block itself, and then I can make my own tabs to come off to the tube chassis or whatever. When the time comes, I'll get those. I got my air jacks from Coupe.
Less rays of the evening sun, with the dream to where I belong.
We are going to have some fancy race car stuff on this thing. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to put it. Typically you put them inside of the cars, right? Inside of the chassis, unibodies or whatever. So you put them inside of the car, it lifts the car up. That's not gonna work on this car because I can barely fit in this thing. You know, cool as this car is, it's kind of a death trap in a sense. I fit in it, but I barely fit in it. You know, there's barely any room for pedals. I'm over 6 feet tall. This car is really tiny, especially with this serious of a chop. So it's not the best vehicle. It's not the most practical thing. Pretty much what I'm going to do, I needed to cut stuff out of the body anyways. It needs to come down and be flush with the chassis, right? So these blocks, both sides need to move forward, and then the body needs to get cut and come down. So I made some plates that are gonna kind of do both jobs of getting it looking cool, being able to drop it down, and then it'll give me a section here. So I'm gonna basically cut the body up, make some cool shapes or whatever, dimple some panels, and then right here where this tube is here and the bottom of the tube chassis here, I'm gonna make a mount for one of the rear air jacks, and that's where it's going to kind of lie. The tires don't kick up any rocks and hit the air jacks themselves because they are aluminum. Aluminum is strong, but it's also soft, so you could still damage those things if you're not, you know, careful. So gonna make something. First I got to do the body mod first, cut it up, weld the new pieces in, and then I got to do some CAD for the air jacks themselves because I can't do it right now because of where the body's at. And I can take the body off and then, you know, put the air jack in and then just, I guess, cut around it, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to get this body off. The way that it is, it flexes a bunch. I don't have the doors in it, and I can't weld any like tubes going across to kind of brace it because it just won't fit back onto the chassis. I'm gonna do the same thing here in the front, and then there's an X brace in here, right? So I'm gonna cut a section out here, same thing, cool little dimpled panel, weld it all in, body work it in or whatever, steel work it in. It's gonna expose these tubes in here. So once these tubes get exposed, then that'll allow me a mount for the front air jack. Same thing, I need to do all this beforehand and kind of get it all cut up, do some cardboard and see where I can go to, you know, which parts of the chassis first. And everything's mirrored, so all I gotta do is flip it to the other side and I'll have it printed. Then the air jacks can basically slide into where they need to go. That's what I'm gonna do on this. I'm getting all my CAD stuff this week, so I should be able to kind of mock up the transmission mount in there, get it bolted up and everything. And then I gotta just focus on actually doing my coilover mounts and everything for the front and the back, make it a roller again. The steering mounts up to the pedals, and just kind of braces everything up in there, and then I can kind of situate everything else. I'll have more room for a transmission tunnel as well, and then just a drive shaft tunnel. So all in all, it'll come together. It's just gotta take a little bit of time. Yeah. More things to come with that. I need to weld some more stuff on it, but I'll kind of update you guys on that one as it, you know, as it happens. And then there's this thing.
Conversion, software version 7.0.
So this randomly popped up. I do not need another car. Pretty much the story goes, I had some parts that have not been used for like a year now, and my friend Eddie, he picked this car up, which is a 1929 Model A two-door sedan. He picked it up and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna do something with it or whatever. And then he brought up the idea of, well, how about you trade me those parts and then I'll trade you this body. And this right here is a dream car for me. I've always wanted one of these. Like when you think of like rat rod, hot rod type of deal, you think of just like these, just this body style, chopped up and kind of extended in the front, walls or something, and a big V8 sticking out. Fenders or nothing up here, covers, no nothing, just open wheel goodness, right? Always wanted one of these. It's absolute dream car. It's unchopped, it's not molested in any way. Factory gas tank is still inside of the cowl. There's still like the master cylinder with a brake line coming out of it. There's even still like some of the original wood in this thing, which it's gonna be more of that gray stuff. Honestly, I'm probably gonna just do away with that and do steel anyways. It's insane. Like even the original fuel gauge is in here. For the steering column is still here. It's not like fully bolted down or anything. Like the doors move. The one thing that stood out to me was the original suicide doors. So the rear has a factory suicide door, which is sick. Like that's pretty neat, to be honest. Let me just shut this bad boy. Don't need it swinging open. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, to be honest with you. Don't need another project car. But it was one of those things where it was just like, as long as I have it, you know, 2 years down the line, I'm not gonna do anything with this car anytime soon. Pretty much free. I spent no money on it. So the same thing with the BMW and the Bel Air. No money on either of those cars. These happened just kind of like by weird occurrences. They happened, right? So, but the fact that I have it and it's gonna sit around for a while, I'm just gonna set it aside and I'll figure out what to do with it later on. Alright, just because I'm more focused on that car. Look, it looks funny. There's one big wheel and one tiny wheel. But more focused on that car, and I'm more focused on this car. So, you know, I can have fun with these two cars that I've been building. Just started on this one, but been building that one forever. Just enjoy them pretty much, and just kind of improve upon them. I figured I'd show you guys that, show you guys that, show you guys that. Love you guys. Hopefully you like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Please comment below. Shut it! I smack you, fool. Hey! Shut it! I smack you, fool. Please comment, you know, what you think of everything, or you know, what you're excited for. Just comment down below, because that gets the algorithm to share my videos onto other people's YouTube platforms, and hopefully we can grow the channel some more. So anyways, yeah, love you guys. Peace, love, chicken grease. Hopefully I see you guys in the next one. Okay, thanks, bye. Oh, bye.